What's going on, guys? Tuesday night. Of course, it's the Tuesday night live stream. Comic News Weekly. We got some great topics to discuss with you tonight. We're going to get into some great topics. We have one. We're talking about Amazing Fantasy 15 sold for record value. We're talking Pokemon card scalpers. We are talking about a new huge acquisition for Boom Studios. There might be some shared difference of opinion in this panel, but we are also talking about Morpheus being recast. But before we get into that, let's bring the members of the panel in, starting with YouTube channel Tales from the Flip Side. Brian McClay. I'm so sorry.
You're the king at this, brother. What are you talking about? Thank you for having me on, man. I love to be here each and every week.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a broken record, man. Every Tuesday night when we first get into this, talk about how I'm already ready for the weekend. But I love this show, love this live stream, love people coming into the chat. We got Ryan Hayslip in there. Awesome Facebook group he has going on there, Rhinos, and the Patreon supporters. Definitely appreciate that. But let's bring the other panelists in. From Dank Comics, we have Dan. What is going on, buddy?
What up? Good to see everyone, and station to other folks that know that. And good to see everyone. Good to be here.
And brother from another mother. I can't even speak tonight. Brother from another mother. The Indie Spotlight series from comicbookinvest.com. Andy Tomberlin, what's going on?
What's up, man? Sound like you're already on the sauce tonight.
No, I'm sauce free tonight, man. I'm just
glad to be here.
Unique
man.
New York. Unique New York. I gotta do my speech exercises.
Toy boat. Toy boat.
Got a little bit of Southern charm in here with Andy Tomberlin.
No. It's the worst show ever. So no.
If you guys haven't watched Southern Charm, Charleston,
don't.
Bravo. Make sure you guys check it out so you can see where Andy Tomlin's from and the social circles that he runs in down there.
That's terrible. That is terrible. If you can hear the way I talk, you'll know that that's not true once you watch the show.
And of course, could not miss the producer, the button clicker, and another comic book YouTuber himself, Comic Man Andy on YouTube. What's going on, Alberto Jefe?
What's cracking, guys? It's another Tuesday. Let's push some buttons.
You make it sound like it's so trivial, but you know the show wouldn't exist and wouldn't run as smoothly without you. And we definitely
works in more than one way. Is we're gonna push each other's buttons, right?
Or
that's
sew
what's great
each
about
other's
this,
buttons.
right? It's an opinion show. We want the people to talk about the topics. People that come into the chat, we want you to put your opinions in the chat as well, because you know that's what makes the community great. If everyone felt the same way, it'd be a pretty boring hobby. So,
isn't Monk's Corner in South Carolina?
Yeah.
Yes, it's close. It's more the redneck side of town.
Really? That's interesting. I did not know that.
Yes.
So yeah, I definitely appreciate people coming to the chat, and want to give a shout out to channel sponsors. John Leone at the 616 Comics. Really appreciate them. He's the one that helps provide books for the Patreon supporters, that those fire exclusives going in those Patreon boxes. And of course, Pop Culture Zone at popculturezone.com. But we're going to get into the first topic. And the first topic, I'll tell you, is not actually a comic book topic. It is more a trading card topic. But a few weeks ago on this very stream, we talked about how comic book shops, and you see the sign floating around Instagram where it's like prices will be checked at the counter, and people were up in arms about that. And just like comic books with flippers and speculation, you know, they get a reputation that sometimes trading cards are no different with scalpers. I know McClay will tell you the same thing. And over in Japan with Pokemon cards, they're doing something new to battle scalpers. And in order to buy boxes of Pokemon cards, they're giving you a Poke quiz. They're giving you a quiz about Pokemon to see if you're a true fan. So it's kind of crazy the guy was able to buy 2 boxes of cards, and this happened over in Japan. But we've had similar situations here with, you know, the influx of the card hobby, whether it's Pokemon, whether it's sports cards. At one time, Target and Walmart pulled them off their shelves. They said it was to keep the staff and customers safe. But I've also heard stories of maybe it's just so popular that the vendors can't keep them in stock because it's not actually Walmart or Target. They actually go through a third-party vendor to provide those, and they just couldn't keep them in stock. But what do you guys think about this? I'm not a Pokemon card collector. My kid collects them, but I don't know enough about them. But like, he's just like, ooh, this one's shiny. It's really valuable. I mean, we're talking Pokemon cards, but I could see this going into trading cards in general. McClay, I know you're a big trading card guy. What do you think?
I feel too. I'm like I see the good and the bad, right? The good is that it stops the silliness, or they're trying to stop the silliness, right?
Well, they
And
just allocate.
yeah, but here's the good about it. The real good about it, it's telling you that collecting is stronger than ever. It's bigger than ever. The hobby is bigger than ever. But then the bad about it is we can't get them. Like, so is it really? You know what I mean? If you can't get your cards, if you can't collect the cards, if the old school collectors can't collect anymore, there's a problem. So they have to figure out a way to at least get cards into people's hands who want them, that aren't necessarily scalping, or both.
Yeah.
And it is so wacky right now with sports cards. We like you said, we talked about all the brands losing licenses and this and that. I mean,
It's gonna be all Fanatics soon.
it is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. But again, it just goes to prove that the hobby is stronger than ever. Just like comic books is stronger than ever. It gets each and every day. There's more people joining in, jumping in, and new technology, new stuff that's coming out to help the collector. So it just feels like the Matrix glitch happened 2 years ago out of nowhere. So.
Yeah, and isn't there, like I said, I'm not a big Pokemon card collector, but isn't there a new expansion, I believe, that's getting ready to launch? I think it even says so in the article, and people are on the lookout for that. I know one of the Patreon members and fellow YouTubers, Chubby Pop Chaser, he was just posted on Instagram, I guess, missing a pre-order, missing the ability to buy, and I saw him posting a picture of a box of Pokemon cards, asking if anyone had any. So, no doubt, that fandom's still there, but I know El Beardo, Comic Man Andy, I don't know what kind of investment you have in Pokemon cards, if any. I know you have a younger child who, I don't know if they're into Pokemon yet, but anxious to get your take as well.
I don't know how to feel like this, because one part of me is like, this is no different than the recapita or pre-capita on the website that says, make sure you're not a robot before you move on ahead. The purchaser and me with the online and everything that goes on right now, if somebody walks up to me online and says, you need to answer this question or thou shall not pass to receive cards. Oh yeah. It's kind of like every other website that I'm at right now. And this is just the beginning. You guys should take a look at PC parts and video cards and what it takes and what they're doing with that situation to prevent scalpers and prevent people from flipping and going to these $2,000, $3,000 price tags for video cards. I mean, they're just trying to find a way to keep
for chips, right?
Yep, the chips and the cards. They're trying to find a way to keep the cards in the fans' hands and the people that want to collect them. So they're trying to keep that foundation, that base of that customer base. So I definitely get and understand where they're coming from on that.
So you're telling me you got to study to buy Pokemon cards? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, that was one of the easiest questions. I'm not even a Pokemon collector, and I knew the answer to that.
Yeah, it was like, what's the main character's sidekick or whatever?
Yeah.
I don't know. I might not have been able to answer it. The only thing I know about Pokemon cards is if you went and got them out of the Happy Meals, you could flip them for like $25 or $50. So I think I might be
With
out
the Rick
on
and
this
Morty
one.
sauce.
Yeah, exactly. But I
Dan,
don't know.
Dan's over there taking notes, so I know he's coming with some fire. Or he's
No,
just
no,
writing
it's
a
just-
haiku. I don't know.
I like haikus every so often. They help me relax when, especially in like really compromising situations. What I don't understand is like there's this demand, right? Huge demand, and this is stuff in production. We're not talking about collectibles that have a certain amount or whatever. So I don't understand why they don't just like produce enough that scalping doesn't even make sense. You kind of they can buy them all, I guess. You keep producing, they keep buying them, and they can try to scalp them, but at a certain point, it's going to collapse their, scalping, idea or whatever, because really it's for kids. I mean, you don't really need a test about a quiz. You just look at the 50-year-old man buying boxes of Pokemon cards, and you kind of, you think maybe this is a scalper, right? It's not a child, right? Because this is supposed to be for children, right? So, I guess, I mean, are they actually quizzing children too? Like, I have a feeling they're not. You know, I feel like when a little kid comes in, they're just like, oh yeah, you know, they don't have to be quizzed on this. So
Well, what if it's just a midget?
yeah,
So
I mean,
Sorry,
this is why.
I didn't mean to say little people or whatever. I don't.
So this is like the reverse. Like when you were a kid, you wanted to find a 21-year-old to go buy you beer.
Yeah.
So now you need to find a kid to go buy you Pokemon
so
cards.
now you got to go into a dark corner with children at the age of 8, give them money, you know, and just like, and when people like try to call you out, and you're like, no, it's just Pokemon cards. This is not what you think. It's nothing else.
I can
This
see
could be a
Andy going up.
dangerous
Tumbling.
road.
I can see Tomlin not knowing anything about Pokemon cards. You just want to go get some to flip them, and he shows up and he's all decked out like in that ball cap and all this Pokemon jackets and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, no, there's older kids too.
Pika
I mean,
Pika.
but
I'll wear my Pikachu shirt. I'll be all right.
I mean, who? If you're buying more than one box, you're not just some. No, you know, it's. Do we need tests? I mean, it's because if you try to do this with other like cards or whatever, like sports cards, yeah, they're gonna know everything. Like they're gonna know everything you can ask them about the people's stats and all that shit, and you know, all that whatever. And it's not gonna stop anyone from. You just supply the demand. If it's in production, and if the demand is that high, like I don't really understand what is this artificial like scarcity thing going. I don't get it. Like is this a I just don't get it. I don't understand this story.
Yeah, I mean, I just put the link in the chat. And I apologize. You should put the link for the articles in the chat while we're talking about it. But real quick, speaking about stats, though, I did want to say what's up to Drew from Wanted Comics is in the chat again, like he is every week. So appreciate that support, and we always go back and forth. He's a crappy Dodgers fan, of course.
It was pretty amazing what Max Scherzer did the other day.
And
though,
I was definitely going to say that, you know, as a national, Max Scherzer gets all the respect in the world, and what he did and what he's doing for the Dodgers is what he's got a .88 ERA going on right now. I'm sorry, we're talking sports for a moment, but I mean,
and that dude's a nutball. That dude's a complete psycho.
This is when I write haikus.
Yeah.
Between Trey Turner and Max Scherzer, that's two great pickups for the Dodgers to still be 2.5 games behind the Giants. But I mean, either way, welcome again, Drew, and always love the back and forth between Giants and Dodgers. But moving on to the next topic.
Tigers never should have let go of Scherzer.
El Beardo.
Moving on to the next topic. Here we are. I feel like I should be shocked, and yet I am not shocked. First Spider-Man comic, Amazing Fantasy 15, sells for a record $3.6 million. Now, don't let the headline fool you. It's a CGC 9.6 white pages, one of only 4 in existence. I feel like I stopped being shocked, and oh my god, speaking of shockers, I feel like I stopped being shocked about comic book sales figures last year or the year before, and I don't know what you want to chalk it up to, really. Whether I think you can look at this a couple of ways. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say, but you can look at it from the perspective of there's a lot of new money in the shocker market. There's a lot of
handshake. That's all.
It's a pitchfork. It's a pitchfork.
Yeah. There's look at what's been happening with cryptocurrencies and things of that nature in the last decade. There's a lot of new money coming into comic book collecting, and I don't feel like it's going to slow down.
Well, the crazy part about it is, I think, you know, a couple weeks ago we were just talking about that crazy video game, you know, thing with Heritage and this and that, and then, you know, 2 weeks later there's record sales on Heritage website. Like, again, if the hobby isn't stronger than ever, here's just more proof for you. And
Andy Alberto brought that up right before we came on the air too, talking about the Heritage and the video game.
Yeah, man, they're killing it. They're absolutely killing it. Well, I mean, just comics in general,
and
selling comics.
And we're seeing record sales months apart now, right? Because they were talking about, was it the Action Comics #1 that just sold for like close to 3?
Yep.
I mean, Amazing Fantasy 15 is a blue chip regardless. And at my buying level, above my buying level even. You know, a graded 2.0 1.5 is just like, man, that's one of these days I'll save up enough pennies to buy a 9.6 is just.
But that thing was in reach like probably 5 years ago. It was in reach, right? You could get like a raw decent copy for like $4 or $5 right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that says a lot how fast these blue chips are going up. Like, I mean, if you sit there and wait for a minute and go, all right, I'm going to get that one next. I'm going to get that one next.
Now
you're
with
gonna be in trouble.
With the way that book is going, let's talk AF-15 here. Would you? And I don't say discriminate because that's a horrible word, but CGC purple label, CGC green label. Would it hold you up from buying an Amazing Fantasy 15?
They say no, but I'm going to be the anal one and be like yes, because.
What if it's a facsimile with the original cover? No. I don't know. I don't think it makes me want those anymore, but I think it makes me look at other blue chips that are within range right now.
FF5.
Yeah,
a lot of them, and
I think Iron Man #1 is still a good buy for cheap.
Yeah,
I mean, Tales of Suspense 39 is crazy out there, but you know the Iron Man #1, even Spider-Man #1 for that matter. But
yeah, I mean, even some of the other ones, like Incredible Hulk 180. You know, like that's one that I feel like it's gonna go. It's gonna go, and 3 years down the road, we might all be sitting here going, Jesus, what were we thinking?
Well,
you know,
let's touch bases on that timing for a minute. Last sale of a 9.6 CGC Amazing Fantasy 15 was in 2011 for 1.1 million. So in 10 years' time, it goes from 1.1 million to 3.6 million in 10 years.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow. I do just want to say if there's any new comic book collectors out there, go ahead and cut this little snippet of this video because this is a perfect one to show, your wife or significant other of why to start collecting comics because there's so much value in there, and just buying any comic, you never know, it could put your kids through law school.
College, yeah.
Except in the 90s.
Death of Superman, yeah.
I think that's the argument a lot of people start with. I even use this like, these are going to be worth money for the kids someday.
Well,
you gotta have that in your back pocket.
I have something that's kind of similar to that, and this is not me bragging at all. It's just news that I literally got yesterday. I have a book that I acquired about 2 years ago from a good friend, and I was going to sell it initially. And shout out to Nico, the resident Flipside lawyer, the resident Flipside legal beagle. He convinced me not to sell it, right? And recently, one in similar condition sold at Heritage for $36,000, and I'm keeping it. I'm not going to sell it. Like, you know what I mean? Because I realized, like, even now it's 4 times, 5 times what I thought it was. And I should be like, sell that sucker. But I'm like, nope, that is 10 years, 15 years.
Punch 12?
Punch 12, yeah.
Yeah, you just showed that on what week or two ago on here, right?
Yeah.
Iconic cover.
That's a hell of a book, Brian. I couldn't sell it either at this point. There's no way.
Yeah.
It's making Brian cry.
Yeah, what's making me cry is the collection that it came in.
I remember that.
Oh my God.
Old school Flipside.
Yeah, it was crazy. So that just goes to show you that. And I told the guy like whose collection it was, he was selling them. He let like 5 blue chips go for like $500. Like first Moon Knight 8.5, like it was included in that. Like nothing. He had no idea. And we're like, take everything down, hold it, do not sell it. We convinced him to get it graded and hold it for retirement, and thank God we did, because I mean every major blue chip that I can think of was in there.
Dan.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys actually watched that documentary about the video game. Like, so if you watch it from beginning to end, there's a YouTuber on there named Comic Book Investments or Comic Investments. I don't remember his full name. I do subscribe to him and I watch his videos, so I just forgot his title exactly. But he's a pretty significant YouTuber, and he said that his father worked for Heritage and he knows that the owner would put up his own PC comics and then buy them from himself at a higher price and do that regularly. And so this AF-15 could be the same copy from 20, like we don't know, right? We don't know, like, because and Heritage has just, their PRP team was like, these are not true. We wish we had a chance to talk about it with him, but he's not a fucking journalist, right? He's a YouTuber, right? So he doesn't necessarily have to do that. He doesn't have that need to do that or whatever, because he's not technically a professional journalist. And he did not like that response whatsoever, because it's just sort of like, because they're trying to hide this under the rug, because that is a huge allegation, and it's from somewhat a good source, really. So it's his dad, right? That's a huge deal, and I think we're trying to ignore it, sweep it under the rug, be in denial about it. But and Carl Jobst, who did the documentary, he's doing a follow-up, and he's gonna go even harder on because they're all being like, they're not really addressing things. They're just sort of saying he's wrong and not addressing stuff. So he actually held back. So we're gonna see a part 2 of this documentary, which goes even harder at them. And if we find out that, because we don't know who the owners are, there is no transparency actually. So this could mean a lot too, and it could mean a lot of these bigger sales were somewhat, manufactured by people on the inside. And then once the hedge fund people that have been putting so much money into these like books recently, then maybe these sales are legit. It's like hedge, people with fucking lots of money doing their thing. But if they realize like it was manufactured, they're gonna all sell at once, and there's gonna be another collapse because they're not true diehards like us. Like they're not the real collectors. These new collectors. So I'm just, and I'm sorry. Like it's just, I feel like, I know this is not great news for everybody, but I think this is like something we have to reckon with until like,
get the pitchforks, guys. Point. Get the pitchforks.
Yeah, way to put the damper on everything, Dan.
Yeah, let's get them.
I, for one, am actually incredibly happy that Dan brought that up, because I was trying to remember more of that documentary from earlier. That's one of the things that concerned me a little bit. It's not too dissimilar to real estate. Without going too far off a topic, they do this with real estate all the time. Similar situation. They're not making more real estate. They're not making more AF-15s. They prop up values of real estate out in the industry for this purpose, and it's kind of just eerily similar to some things I've seen in real estate in the last 10, 20 years. So, I like to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and maybe this is somebody that sold off a bunch of Dogecoin or something like that, or a bunch of Bitcoin, maybe new money coming in, but we would be doing ourselves a disservice if we didn't consider Dan's bringing that point back up, because that has weight.
I have lost a lot of faith in Heritage, and all of I everything's in question in my mind. And I'm not a journalist, I'm not a fucking economist, but
it casts a seed of doubt for you for sure.
Severe seeds of doubt. I mean, these are serious allegations, and but eBay sales, I trust eBay sales better, like as a way of like, figuring out the valuation of things. Then I just don't, based on what I learned, I don't trust Heritage auctions anymore. So, and they are the ones responsible for the news story sales, like these news story, and they have a press team, and there's a lot of, I don't know, it's a little.
I think you bring up a great point. I think it would affect me more if I had the money to swim in that Heritage circle. I don't have that Tomberlin Southern Charm money. He's on Heritage all the
time. Yeah, right.
No, but and that's why I think, if it was closer to me and closer to where where I buy from, then I would probably look at it and more skeptical. And it's very great point, and it kind of, like you said, it gives you that seed of doubt.
I'm very, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying I'm very proud it was a YouTuber that did this, because actually there was like enough bullshit that a lot of journalists and the New York Times even picked up a lot of these like doofy ass stories, and they didn't do their due diligence. These like supposedly legit journalists, and it took a YouTuber to like look through the legal documents, and figure all this out, because he had the passion, and that's what drove him to find the truth, like maybe the truth. We don't know yet, right? It's all allegations right now, but I'm very proud of YouTube, the communities, for like doing that, and showing our value in a lot of ways, that we can even beat fucking journalists at their own game, and they're not, and I think that's remarkable. I just wanted to say so. Good job, Carl Jobst. I think that's I don't know how to pronounce it.
So, do you think that there's any way that it could just be, and I mean, I don't even know why I'm asking this, because I saw the video too, but I know a lot of people are like, oh, what if it's just, these people that are doing it? I mean, do you think it goes across the whole company? You know what I mean? Like,
I can watch it again, but I believe the YouTuber from Comic Book Investments or Comic Investments said that his father knows that's the co-founder, who still is like one of the head people there, was buying and selling his own PC books to up the price. I gotta relook at the document, but I'm pretty sure that's what he said. So I might be mischaracter. I don't think I'm mischaracter. I think that's what he said. I could be wrong. So, but I'll look at it again. But I'm pretty sure that's what he said, and I was like, what? And that's comics, because I latched onto that. I had to rewatch it because that part was about comics, and freaked me out.
You sound like Iverson there. Talk about comics.
Practice. Practice.
And he's a respected member of the community, so I would be surprised if he's just, I think he, yeah, we'll see what happens. Like, I think more is coming, but they're trying to, sweep it under the rug, and I think a lot of people are trying to sweep it under the rug.
Alberto just put a link to that video in the chat, right?
Yep.
I mean, I put a link to the channel, but he put the actual video in there. So,
has Jim Halpern come out and said anything about it? Do we know?
Jobst said in an interview that he did own up to some of it, actually, like some of the details that he's like, yeah, actually I did do this and that or whatever. Not everything though, and it wasn't like, it's just he was like so annoyed with the WADA guy or whatever, because he like sort of like was saying like, this is all fake, this is all lies, and whereas Jim took a little ownership, I guess. But again, this could be heresy. So I'm just like, I don't know. Like, it's just, but if it's, I'm just saying, I'm waiting for the second documentary. I want to see how much harder he goes at them, because he's going to bring up like the fact that this is illegal. Like, he didn't bring up the legal case as much, but he said now, because they're trying to act like he doesn't know what he's doing, he's going to go hard at them and really expose them. So I want to see how far that really goes. And if it goes so far, there may be a reckoning.
Speaking of reckoning, Dan, there's been some. We got the new Matrix trailer, right? And then
yes.
Within there, people have noticed Morpheus looks a little different.
Yeah, the people were wondering, is de-aging getting that good? But no, it's Yahya Mateen, right? Yahya Abdul-Mateen. And it seems that he has replaced Lawrence Fishburne in the role of Morpheus to play a younger Morpheus. And Lawrence Fishburne was asked about this, and he said, I don't know, you got to ask Wachowski, right? I think Lana Wachowski is the director. Not both of the sisters at the moment, but it's one of them. And yeah. So, and there was also initially when Lawrence Fishburne was replaced, there was a theory that because there was a Matrix video game in which Morpheus was killed, and that was in continuity, that's why they would replace Lawrence Fishburne with a younger actor as a resurrected Morpheus. However, so this is the weird thing. However, according to the official Warner Brothers synopsis of the film, it implies that this is a direct sequel to Matrix 1 only. It kind of says, yeah, I had it.
So the Matrix is still a thing, huh?
Yeah, so according to the official synopsis, Matrix Resurrection is a continuation of the story established in the first Matrix film. It reunites Keanu Reeves, blah, 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 blah. But they're sort of saying, like, this is not a sequel to, the two other films, right? Which means then Morpheus wasn't really killed. Like, that his death in the video game is not necessarily in continuity of this film. So, no one really knows why. And
and why is Morpheus younger and John Wick and Trinity are older?
Well, I'm gonna guess it's gonna be like
well, it is
he
called
was killed.
Resurrections, right?
Yeah, they're gonna probably do a flashback scene where, or it's in the beginning, maybe in the beginning, or I don't know, maybe Lawrence Fishburne's secretly in it. No one knows.
Maybe the glasses wouldn't fit Lawrence's face anymore.
But I'm surprisingly more excited for this than because Eternals comes out around the same time, right?
Yeah.
I feel more
Got all the box office
emotional connection to. Well, it's a day and date release on the HBO Max, so I don't think it will never. But I don't feel as emotionally connected to Eternals. So it's not really the topic, but I when I saw that Matrix trailer, I was just like, oh yeah, I want to know. I want to know how this happened. I want to know how they're here. I'm in, And Eternals, I was just like, where the fuck were these assholes this whole time?
What is this? The Warriors? Come out.
Well, they were told not to. Remember?
So what do you think? What do y'all think?
Tomlin's excited. Couldn't you tell? He's like, "Oh, Matrix is still around."
Yeah, I mean, I watched the first one, and that was honestly enough for a lifetime for me. So,
first one was awesome.
It was all right. I wasn't my cup of tea.
I watched it. I think it was like right when DVD even first came out, and I was super stoked in the Marine Corps barracks with my surround sound.
Ashley's got it right. Yeah, no, I don't know, man. I feel they're beating a dead horse at this point, but I mean, I'm sure there's followers out there.
What if it was the Matrix Deadliest Catch?
I'm in. Like, I'm in. God. Are you kidding me? I'm in all day.
Neo Big Tuna.
That's a low blow, Brian. Low blow. But that's not for me. Not for me. This one kind of falls in the DC Comics category for me.
It's definitely a staple in Keanu Reeves' career. That's for sure. And
stepping stone for Berserker, right?
Yeah,
right,
I mean,
right, Alberto Jefe.
Stepping stone. I'll segue this right into my kind of opinion on this. Is I share the same amount of excitement, maybe touch more, touch less than Dan here, because the Matrix series has a special place. That's one of the first movies that I purchased on DVD with my very first computer that I owned in high school, and I watched that disc so much it burnt the damn thing up. And that was one movie that I'll never turn off if it ever shows up on TV, or I'll always make sure that I have a Blu-ray copy or something like that. It just has a very special place in my heart because they captured that target audience when I was that age with the long black dusters and wanting to be like emo and rock and go out and
those phones. I remember looking for that freaking phone that got an exit
and being all punk rock. That was like punk rock in the late 90s, and that's how you were in high school, showing up punk rock with chains and the coats
Indian
and all that.
Skyliner.
I didn't go that far, but I mean, that movie has a very special place in my heart. But I do have some reservations because I hope that this holds a candle to that first movie, like as far as what it did for me back then. The problem is I'm a very different person now, 20 years later, than I was 20 years ago when that movie first came out. So do you guys know, are they recording this in 3D? I know it's going to be an IMAX experience, but I don't know if it's going to be 3D or not. I would hope so.
In your 3D movies.
Come on, man. This is the one. Neo, this is your one, man.
I don't know. I don't. Maybe it's because of my old age. My eyes are getting worse. I don't go to 3D movies anymore.
They cause migraines.
Do they still hand out the glasses?
Yeah.
They do.
Last 3D movie, it was one of the Marvel movies because they were giving out Iron Patriot 3D glasses and stuff. So that's the last 3D movie I went to.
See, I'm not the only one.
I mean, The Matrix was sort of like Star Wars for a generation in a sense, but in the follow-ups were so disappointing, right? It's like they got New Hope and the prequels. Okay, so, and this is sort of like almost what the fans have been asking for, right? And you have to consider The Matrix sort of foreshadowed the superhero films coming. You know, like it was like the first time we really saw action like that on that level. And accepted people flying and
what do they call it? Like movie time or
bullet time?
Bullet time. Like
all this stuff. Like it was so. And I knew about Wire Fu because I watched like kung fu films like earlier.
Remember Max Payne, the video game? Was it Max Payne that had the bullet time in it too?
A lot of people had bullet time after for like a year or two.
Yeah, everybody was doing bullet time.
Yeah, everyone was doing Wire Fu. But they made a reason why it made sense. So I thought American cinema would never accept it because I saw Warriors of Zoo. I don't know if you guys remember Zoo Warriors or something with kangaroo, like Ninja Turtle kangaroo ripoffs. They did Wire Fu. A lot of kids watched it. I'm one of those kids. It failed. And I was like, man, America's just never going to accept Wire Fu. And then Matrix does it. And then they have like a logical reason why it's happening. So the American audience is like, oh yeah, I get it. This makes sense. And I was just like, holy shit, they figured it out, and I saw it in theaters, you guys. So, it was, to me, it was like a revolutionary thing to see. Like, and the kung fu genre, really, it's a kung fu film too, in so many ways. People don't see it as that these days, but it's actually one of the classic greatest kung fu films of all time. And
it's one of those movies that when you saw it in the theater for that first time in a while, like you get that feeling as a kid where you get that moment where, when the helicopter's coming up and Neo's going to get saved and you get that emotional, like, heck yeah. It's almost like reminds me of the old Rambo movies as a kid.
It was a movie where you leave the theater and you think like, wow, that's why they make fucking movies. Yeah. That's what movies are all about.
Yeah.
And I don't get that experience a lot, I wanted that with Shang-Chi. I didn't get it.
With that said, I'm watching this at home.
Yeah.
So is it going to be a dual release? Is that what you guys were saying a little while ago?
It is. HBO Max.
Great.
I really like your comparison to it's that generation's Star Wars, essentially.
And it foreshadowed the superhero. I don't think they would have tried Spider-Man if Matrix didn't happen.
Did Blade happen before or after Matrix?
It did. It happened before, but Blade just didn't have that level of. It was still like Passenger 57 level action. It was still that Wesley Snipes like.
Hey, there was nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong with Passenger 57.
No, I didn't say there was anything wrong. It's just the Matrix was a different level of like pushing things to a superhuman extreme that we never seen realistically depicted before, where we believed it. You will believe in bullet time. That should have been. I don't know. That's a terrible catchphrase, but you know what I'm saying.
I do want to apologize for misspelling resurrections in the lower third. I'll take the blame for that.
You're not reading the Bible, boy.
I don't know why your producer didn't catch it.
I suck at spelling, so that's why I didn't catch it.
I guess you guys weren't using Google software when you did this.
It didn't spell check. It didn't spell check in the graphic program. But Tomerlin, Mr. Indie Spotlight.
Yeah,
we got some indie. I mean, full disclosure, I know I'm a Boom Studios homer, and I know Andy is as well. So this is some news, but Andy had a different opinion on this, and we're gonna find out what that is.
Yeah, I am a Boom homer, 100%. Ross is my guy, 100%. Arun was my guy, and so now we've got
Philip Sablik
and Philip. Yep. I can't leave out Philip. But now we've got Hunter Goranson headed to Boom to head the business development, and I want to love this, and I do love it for certain reasons. But For the bad idea reason, I don't. As everybody knows, I was a huge opponent of the bad idea thing. I felt like it was just way too gimmicky. It wasn't about comics. It was about
So, real
the
quick,
sell tactics.
For viewers that might not be aware of when you're saying bad idea, can you have kind of a little bit of a background on that as well?
Yes. So Bad Idea was born with Hunter and Dinesh, comic company that is now saying they are going to be no more. I guess it's some rebranding type stuff. But who knows? With him leaving, maybe it was really the bottom falling out of it. It's so hard to say. And that's kind of what's got a bad taste in my mouth. He was at Valiant before this, I believe. And his track record with cinema is good, and that's what Boom is about too. So I think the fit will be good, but I just hope he sticks to comics, not the gimmicks. Boom's strong enough where they don't need all the gimmicks. Just do comics and do them well, and I think they'll be fine. But yeah, to me, it is a little bit of eyebrow raiser because I am such a Boom homer. It just makes me think, makes me worry a little bit. But I've got total faith in Ross, so lead us to the promised land, I guess is what I have to say there. But I mean, from one homer to another, Brian, I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
I kind of see this as a key acquisition, but I think this is one that from that comic reader perspective, it's something that will kind of might go unnoticed from your average comic reader that's buying. So from looking at that article, it looks like, was it vice president of business development, right? And he's bringing them in there to boost up the direct consumer channels, identify and negotiate new partnerships and brand collaborations, and shepherd development opportunities for the Boom library. Within that, talking about how he was instrumental for bringing certain shows to media with Hive Mind, right, and with the Witcher series and stuff to Netflix. So I think a lot of that value is added to the Boom organization, but it's not something that's going to show right up front to the comic reader and the comic collector. I think that direct consumer market, I think that'll benefit and some of the books that Boom Studios produces that's not necessarily comic books as well, like the R.L. Stine books, the young generation graphic novels, some of the stuff that they're creating outside just your normal comic book market. But then I think with that experience from Hive Mind, he has the opportunity to bring more Seven Secrets, looking at you, some of those into that media landscape. So I understand your frustration behind Bad Idea and how people saw it as a marketing ploy. I kind of liked the marketing ploy from a Bad Idea perspective. I think it injected the hobby. I think it made people collect. They produce collectibles and good, bad, or indifferent. It created a buzz behind it. No variants. Can only sell it for a certain amount. You couldn't sell more than a copy. If you sold more than a copy, you got took off the list and you couldn't sell books anymore. It created a buzz, and then they created, like you said, another buzz when they're like, "Hey, Bad Idea, no more." And everyone they haven't come out and said it, but everyone figures it's a rebranding type thing. But I'm all for Hunter Goranson, and I think this will be a great value to Boom.
Yeah. No, I don't take anything away from that side. I definitely think it'll be a good acquisition. What about you, McClay? What you thinking on this one?
I look at Bad Idea and everything done over there with a little bit different kind of lenses, right? I look at it like I kind of respect trying to change it up and trying to do something different and trying to, throw things kind of in disarray and see how it works out type deal. That Dinesh and Hunter were about. Is it Hunter? Is that his name?
Yeah,
Hunter Goranson. I kind of respect kind of what they did, even the little gimmicks. I know it was a little weird. It was hard for certain fans to get them, and there was a lot of childishness that was happening within the community about it, and that type of stuff. But I think that it was a little bit fresh. And I agree with what Brian said, where this guy has some new ideas that companies are looking for, and that's why he's there.
Yeah, no, I do get all those sides. And for the record, though, Brian, they did do a variant. Passive aggressive was a variant. So I'm just saying.
But it was the opposite of a regular variant.
It was. All right. Yes, you win. How about you, Alberto Jefe? What are you thinking? Yes,
I
but
think
Drew. Yes, shops had to jump through too many hoops. But yes, Alberto, give it to me.
I think situations and news like this, like I didn't even identify this as comic book news at first because this is 5 layers deeper than what I normally get into when it comes to comic books. So I'm really glad that you guys have gone through the punches here a little bit and touched on some of these points, because this makes me even more excited for Boom Studios and what they have coming up, what they've already had done. If I'm understanding you, Brian, correctly, kind of sounds like this has added more, or this can potentially add more weight and potential to seeing some of our favorite past Boom titles on the screen. And then take a look at what's coming out in the catalog for Boom in the next 6 to 12 months. And the Boom titles have been fantastic, and now I think it's just going to get better.
Yeah, no, I see that too. I mean, there's definitely some good ones, like The Strange Skies over East Berlin. I don't know if y'all ever read that.
I'd like that. I like World War II stuff. So
yeah, that's a good
actually.
one. So that could, like you say, it could trigger some of that. But how about you, Dan? What you thinking?
It seems like this guy is more about like IP management. Like I feel like he if anything, I almost feel like he had nothing to do with the comic gimmick bullshit. That Bad Idea. And you know what? I was like, cool, Bad Idea. Like, okay, 1 per person, 30-day, price hold. These ideas, no variants, no trades. Okay, cool. But when they announced that they're like going out of business because it's not sustainable, whatever the fuck, they sold out of every motherfucker, right? So if they had a business plan and they said, if we sell this many units, there's the ROI, we can make it, blah, blah, blah. That's how you make a business plan. That's how it works, right? They sold out of everything, everywhere, all the time. So to announce that, like that, so that stunt when they said, like, we can, that pissed me off. That made me actually really not like them, because I feel like we're a different kind of consumer. We're not buying comics like, yeah, maybe some of us buying to collect or whatever, but we buy it for the stories because we love it and we're passionate about it, because most people would never buy comics because it doesn't have value for them, because they'll spend $5 on a 2-hour movie. We spend $5 on a 10-minute experience because we do it because we're passionate, and we're not like, not like sneakerheads. I've mentioned this before, where there's like a status thing and like it's about being cool, and it's like a shallow culture. Like, we buy comics because we love story, and that makes us a different kind of consumer. So I don't like it when they do fake viral marketing, dishonest campaigning on us. Like, I get it if you do it to sneakerheads or people that want a Kanye t-shirt. I get that, okay? Because it's all nonsense anyway, right? We already know it's nonsense, but we're not that kind of consumer necessarily. And without us sustaining the industry all this time, it wouldn't exist, because it's always like barely surviving. So don't mess with us. Don't make these like lies and trick us. Like, I don't like that at all. I don't know if this guy had anything to do with that. I don't know, but if he's good at IP management, that's great. But he quit. He quit Bad Idea.
I like how you sandwiched your rant in between the. I don't think he.
No, yeah, because like, because no, I'm just like, talking about what Andy's been saying. Like, kind of like, are they? I don't know if they are connected necessarily, because he seems like he's not really in charge of that. From what I read, but and if anything, I feel like that's why he'd want to quit, because he's like, this bullshit makes it hard to like, for people to take these IPs seriously. You're making it hard for me to sell these freaking projects to Hollywood. Oh, Boom wants me? I mean, total speculation. I'm totally making shit up.
Yeah, I like that though.
I think that narrative is more maybe what happened, but I don't know. Who knows?
He says bullshit. Remind me of old Martin Lawrence stand up. That bullshit, Lado. I bring GT Alberto GTK comic. He put up he brought up a comment, but I don't even want to address the comment. I really just wanted to address that his kick-ass avatar for GI Joe #2 is iconic in itself. And I mean the comment was great too, but when I saw that I was like, oh, that's GI Joe #2 right there. So yeah, love the avatar on that one.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, it's right. They did great. They were doing great. That's why I don't like why they're like, they said it can be no more. Like, it implies that, they could, but they were just selling everything. So, like, just be more transparent. Don't try to get sympathy when you're the king of the hill. Go F yourself, man. Don't do that shit.
Do you think some of those bad idea books got caught up in some of that marketing? Because you had some great stories by some great creative teams in those books, and I know some people are going after them from a collector standpoint, but like ENIAC with Matt Kent and some of those other books and the creative teams they had behind there. Do you think they could have let some of that carry that marketing a little bit more than just the, hey, we're only supposed to be brick and mortar? And then, of course, as Drew said, from Wanted Comics as a retailer, a lot of the hoops that retailers had to go through to carry those books.
It should be about the story, not about the hoops you have to jump through to get the book and the perceived rarity because of it. That's why you had those books hitting the list. I mean, not everybody could get their hands on them. So naturally, when you can't get your hands on them, you're going to go to the secondary market. You're going to pay for them. Then they're going to spike. I mean, it was a vicious cycle that they created.
Do you think also if they had it limited to retailers, do you think it was a who not what type of retailer? Do you think it was like a who kind of list and they built it out that way first? I mean, I'm just curious. I don't know. I don't have the knowledge. I'm just
I would think so.
Theories, I guess.
I mean, I would think so because I mean, it's the real world, and the real world is basically all about who.
Yeah, I got you.
So yeah, I mean,
and, Midtown, TFAW. That was what broke my heart. Is when the news first broke, it was like only brick and mortars, and I understand like, and I saw TFAW got it right, and I was like, well, what's going on with that? I mean, Midtown. I don't know if TFAW do they have a brick and mortar store as well? I know. Midtown
I believe they do.
But I don't know. I feel like they would have done a lot better though if they would have just got the story in as many people's hands as they could have. Yeah. I mean, because that's what all comic writers want to do. They want to get their story in as many people's hands as you can. Yeah. And when your publisher is limiting that, I mean, they're kind of putting the clamps on you, and that's that gets tough. I would think from a writer perspective.
And not to digress from the main discussion point for this topic. I mean, I know Philip Sablik, the VP of marketing for Boom, is super thrilled to have Hunter Goranson join the team. So I imagine there's going to be good things that come out of it. I just think a lot of that won't be seen, like I said at the beginning, from the average comic consumer. Is going to be a lot of behind the scenes value. But given that it's New Comic Book Day Eve or release day if you're from Lunar Distribution with DC and Scout. But like we do every week, we're going to go around the panel and talk about our new comic book day pick. What book are you guys picking up tomorrow? Whether it's reader pick, art pick, spec pick, whatever you want to call it. Brian McClay.
I got a couple books. Here you go. I'll go ahead and share my screen. First book to read and collect and everything about it is Primordial #1. I am going to do my best to get the J.G. Jones cover, of course, from Wanted Comics. If you guys didn't already score that, go check out Wanted Comics. They might have some left for you, but I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, Comics with an X. That looks really good. What else do we got? Oh, there was a couple covers that looked really good just for cover. And one of them was this. Well, hold on, let me fix it.
That C cover looked really good. and he's gone.
I mean, we all have Primordial as a pick, right?
McClay was gonna say, I'll read his mind. The C cover by Dustin Nguyen or whatever, however you say his name.
Dustin Nguyen?
Yeah, that one. That cover is badass. I will say that. I don't know if that's what he was going to say, but that would be my pick.
That was weird. I just closed everything, right?
You hit the eject button.
Yeah, it was
yeah.
crazy. All right, so I had my the primordial number 1 up, of course. There was another one that was looked really good, just for I guess you would say cover only pick, and that was the Black Widow.
Hughes.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Hughes been doing
Hughes.
some killer covers for Black Widow. I don't hear a lot of people talking about.
Yeah, Hughes is just he had a little bit of a lull there, but man, he's been killing it lately. And who doesn't love Hughes Black Widow? There was so many books, and I don't want to keep going, but there were so many books that were like just so good. Red Room, I really want to get, and that Harley Quinn the animated series Eat Bang Kill Tour number 1, very interesting looking.
Eat the Rich second prints tomorrow too.
Yeah, and that Eternals Thanos Rises number 1 looks very interesting too. So I mean, just a ton of really. This is a big week. There's a lot of really good books out this week.
Yeah, you need to let other people pick some. Jeez.
Yeah, he got them all right there, all of them. Hey, you need to read the description of the Black Widow 11 book, like the synopsis, while looking at the Hughes cover.
All right, here we go. You ready?
Tell me they didn't do something there.
So it says, friend or foe, with Apogee in her rear view, Natasha pushes forward with her plans to become the hero San Francisco needs. When an old source sends Natasha and her team looking for a mysterious pair known only as the twins, the Black Widow has to confront the fact that Apogee may not be as behind them as she'd hoped. But the twins are friends. But are the twins friends or foe?
I set you up on that one. Sorry.
Oh man, that's great. I love it.
GT Key Comic. Who's got the Gallagher Primordial?
That's Wanted Comics. No, wait. Sorry, Wanted Comics is JG Jones. I don't know who. Drew would know. Drew's probably in the chat. If he's still in the chat, he'll know who has the Gallagher.
I was saying, and then channel sponsor D616 has a Ken Lashley variant available up on their site. I put the link to that too. But yeah, I'll put the link to the Gallagher one up there too if we get it. But Dan, what are you getting tomorrow?
So I think we're all getting Primordial, right? But I was gonna mention Campisi, The Dragon Incident issue 2 by James Patrick, who did Kaiju Score, which was optioned, and they got screenwriters for that. And I rather enjoyed Kaiju Score. I thought it was a pretty awesome trade. I got the single issues, but I thought like this is a great trade, right? And I also thought like the first issue wasn't the strongest. I thought like because I didn't really get what the hell was happening, and then second issue it all made sense, and I was like, okay, I get it, I get this, and I love it, right? I felt the same way with Campisi issue 1. I was like, all right, I'm getting a lot. I'm not really sure where it's going. But based on Kaiju Score and how James Patrick wrote it, I'm guessing like it just starts like hitting the ground running at issue 2, and I'm just hoping it does, and because I want this to be like as good, maybe better than Kaiju Score. I think he really does well with this meta genre of like fantasy modern stuff or like kaiju modern stuff. He does like grounded modern meta stories, and very Tarantino-esque dialogue too that I think very well done actually, like a very witty dialogue between the characters, and it's prime for optioning. So I just want it to be good so that it's worth specking on, basically. Yep, that's right, I said it. Specking.
So Drew was in the chat, and he put the Gallaghers from Comic Mint. So he put a link to that in the chat as well. But yeah, definitely make sure you guys check out Drew at Wanted Comics. Not only does he have that great Primordial, but he's got a bunch of other great exclusives up there. And then, of course, channel sponsors 616 Comics as well. Andy, did you go scrambling for another pick, or you can stick with Primordial? I know.
Tom or me?
Sorry, confuse him.
I'm sticking with Primordial simply because the team up of Lemire and Sorrentino Sorrentino. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Sargento.
Sargento. That joke's getting cheesy. Good Lord. But that creative team that brought us Gideon Falls was such a fantastic read, and I really love the way they delivered that story. I'm looking forward to seeing this. I'm kind of sad it's only going to be a mini series. You guys are right; they've got some killer covers out right now, and I'm looking at some of those. But that's going to be the first book that I read in my vehicle as soon as I get out of the store. Before I'll even read it at the store before I even pay for it. That's kind of where I'm at with that creative team.
You don't delay the gratification. Like that's what I do. Like my book of the week, I usually wait at the I save it for last. But you read it first?
Hell
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I always save the best for last.
It's like eating your fries first or second, man. Come on.
Yeah.
All right, so McClay hit on mine a little bit there. Red Room 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that book it's a little hard to follow. I'll say that. You may have to read it a couple times to get it on each issue, but I think it's one of those ones that's going to have like a cult following. And I think the further you get into those single digit issues here, they're going to be harder to find. And that cover A, where my man's on the chopping block, you need to check that one out. It's pretty intense. But the other one is Nobody's Child by Behemoth Comics, and that's the one where there's a genetic code in the albino rhinos, and it's like this guy's trying to protect them. So I'm interested to check that one out for sure. And then the cover to White number 3. Kanye makes that cover. That's all I can say.
This is the Red Room cover. Also, I'll share it real quick, Andy. This is the cover that I see a lot of people talking about too for Red Room, the Spawn one.
Oh yeah.
Yep. There is a Spawn too.
Whoa.
That cover A though, like that one.
Yeah, the cover.
I want to put the fear in you.
Yeah,
Are
it's
those
crazy.
Far Side Comics, another.
Whoa.
Nope, not that one. The one.
This one right
There
here.
you go. Yep. Oi.
Oh my.
That could be
Oh.
tough. That could be tough.
It's the EC comic homage.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
So,
But,
so my
and-
pick.
Go ahead. Sorry.
We can go back to that in a minute. But so my main pick, reader pick, and they just Milky Way just actually put in the chat. Maw from Boom Studios. We're talking about Boom Studios.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about how they got so many great series coming out right now, and a lot of horror comics. Horror comics are great. This looks like a great reader pickup for me. You got Girls Retreat. They go out to get away for the weekend, and they get assaulted, and then just through that unleashes the demon in this female, and just all hell breaks loose. And I just think of Russell Crowe back when he was in his prime, talking about At My Signal, Unleash Hell. And on top of that, tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern or 3 p.m. 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, on Boom Studios' website, they actually have a web exclusive limited to 200 copies by Karen Darbo is the artist on that. And there's a Megan Hutchinson on the covers for the regular releases. Megan Hutchinson Cake's killing it with the cover art right now. Glad to see her getting her due with some of these publishers. And the other one I was going to talk about, which I thought for sure McClay was going to talk about, he talked about it a couple weeks ago right after FOC, is that Iron Man number 12, Miles Morales 10th anniversary Raza variant. That saw that, knew it was going to get hot. Everyone's talking about it. Sold out a lot of places already. And that DJ Raza Spider-Man Miles Morales variant is going to be one that people
I'm trying to find it. Yeah. Anyways, we talked about that so much, man. That like it's that good that you could just talk about it over and over and over. Did you guys see this? This is a Kirby 1 in 100 variant for the 35th anniversary of Fantastic Four. And I'm not a huge Kirby art fan. I respect it, but man, there are some Kirby art fan collectors out there. And this, if you can get it cheap enough, might be one to maybe put away for a little bit and then sell for a big chunk.
Yeah, and Fantastic Four can be sneaky.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but I do love a real Kirby though. There's like a lot of real Kirbys we can get for a decent price.
Yeah.
Kids love Kirby Star Allies.
So Destroyer Duck Kirby.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Is that wait? That's not the one with the first Gru?
No, that's number
no,
one, right?
No.
Yeah.
That's issue. Yeah.
So yeah, like Drew put in the chat, even as a retailer, that Wednesday Warrior books that Iron Man 12 miles variant for sure. So be on the lookout for that one. Or if you would have watched FOC video, you would have pre-ordered it. Just
You guys
saying.
want to know something funny about that? Guess who didn't get a copy of that?
Mr. McClay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You win some, you lose some.
Wow.
Yeah.
Know when to hold them, when to fold them, when to walk away.
They're like
beat it just
they're
one
going
stroke.
Mhm.
They're going for like 18 and 20 right now, I think. On the
What?
second. So, yeah.
Don't get the cover, man. Just get the hot toy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll find one eventually.
So
I'll find one eventually.
If they send me all mine, McClay, I got you. Don't worry.
there's our picks for New Comic Book Day. That's just going to leave us with one more thing. All right, we're going to go around here real quick. Each panelist says one more thing, what they got going on their YouTube channel, what they got going in their pantry. Are they just washing socks in the laundry right now? One more thing, whatever they want to talk about. Dan, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I got all the pages, the cover, everything for my first issue of a series called The Architect. It's like a mini series I'm producing or whatever. But everything's in. Now we just gotta letter that shit and do a Kickstarter. And it's a story about the future and a singularity cult, and then also fashion and modeling, and like in the future how everyone's partially synthetic, and the most famous person in the world, her face is actually trademarked, and you can bid. They bid out the rights to her face once a year to the highest bidder, and then she donates that money to charity. So she's like, everyone loves her. She's this famous philanthropist, but she might be a part of this singularity conspiracy. And a private investigator like starts unraveling everything by accident, just based on a hunch, and it's fun. Oh man, I am excited. The art is amazing. It's by Carlos Trigo, right? It's great, and yeah, we just gotta letter it, and then judge me, yo. Read that shit. Tell me it's horrible. Do it.
Do
it. Yeah.
Rum and
do
Coke.
it.
Do it. Beardo.
Oof. One more thing. Massive subscriber giveaway on the Comic Man Andy YouTube channel is going down this Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be live. There's a ton of books being given away, and it's going to be a hot mess, but it's going to be a fun, hot mess. So I'm looking forward to that. Hoping everybody tunes in. Hit that subscribe button. See if you can win something.
Yeah, definitely check him out, and link to his channels in the description of this video if you guys are interested.
Nice. All right. So for me, comicbookinvest.com. Check it out. Tales from the Flip Side. Check them out. After here, keep it thorough. It's got the Indie Spotlight show over there. Don't miss that. And
you're syndicated, bro.
Yeah, right. And I've got a Whatnot sale tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. All dollar auctions, slabs, Something is Killing the Children, #1, all kind of stuff. So tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern time.
I want to remind everybody that Baltimore is coming up in just a little over a month now, I think.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see a lot of you out there.
Bring your Vax cards.
Yeah. Listen, you guys. For any of you guys that are going to Baltimore, a lot of people have been hitting us up over at the Flipside crew, and yes, the hashtag Dirty Flippers T-shirts will be available. So get yourself one at Baltimore.
Is that like Dirty Sanchez or something?
No, much better. Better.
Way better.
It's where you're on top and then you're on bottom, but then you're back on top.
It's called 96 and
wait.
But, all right, mine out of the gutter. One more thing. Giants clinched playoff position, so we know they're playing in October. I'm hoping 2.5 games out. I hope they keep that lead. Hope they win that NL West because that's a surprise. Even so, if my next goal is 100 games, if they win 100 games, my season's already made. But it's been one hell of a season to watch for San Francisco Giants fans. And make sure you guys check out Drew at Wanted Comics. That's comics with an X. Make sure you guys check out John at the616 Comics. All those great stories exclusives up there. And with that being said, I also want to say thanks to everyone that's coming in this chat each and every week. Seeing repeat people in there always keeps this conversation going really, really well. So appreciate you guys' input. And thank you to the comic community. And for those that are watching this on the replay or listening to this on the audio podcast, thank you so much. That being said, this is Brown Man's Comics. See you guys in the next video.
Peace.
Look, they talking like they don't know a king when they see one. See him in person, he take it back like a refund. Ballin' with my brothers, all my playing D1. Daily checking chicken, he gon' spin it watching reruns. Say they real.